In Formula One, 10 teams showed their color designs at one event, but the real cars were not shown there. Only one day after the event, Ferrari presented its SF-25 at its Fiorano test track with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton in a commercial shoot for the 2025 season. In this video, I will share important news about Ferrari's new SF-25, which is changed by 99%. If you liked the video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, my friends. With the SF-25, Ferrari changed 99% of the car. But it is not only the car that has changed. There were big changes in the technical management too. The project, led by Loic Serra, Diego Tondi, and David Sanchez, aims to make Ferrari more consistent in qualifying and race performance. It also aims to build a car that can perform better on different tracks. In the 2024 season, Ferrari's biggest problem was that the tires did not heat up. Because of this, they could not show their real speed in qualifying and had big problems keeping pace in cold weather. The main goal of the new car is to help the tires reach their working temperature faster and more effectively. Ferrari engineers think that with the new design, the car's efficiency and overall performance have improved. The long-awaited change in the front suspension finally happened. Ferrari had used the push-rod suspension system for years. However, with the SF-25, following the trend, they chose a pull-rod front suspension geometry. What is pull-rod front suspension? Let's take a look together. You can see the suspension protrusion. These are the rods. When it is lower, it is called a pull drawing arm. When it is higher, the connection point acts as a push arm. As you see, in last year's Ferrari car, the connection point was high. When it is high, it is called a push arm. When it is low, it is called a pull arm. The main advantages are, since the connection point and parts are below the chassis, the car's front weight moves lower. This is an advantage because you want the weight to be low. Also, under the new rules of Formula One, this front suspension system gives teams a better airflow. Advantages of pull rod suspension. It gives more aerodynamic freedom. It offers more flexibility to the driver in terms of driving feel. Since the suspension arms are lower, the airflow between the front wing and the body is better optimized. By switching to a pull rod design, the arm drops and a larger space is open between the wing and the body for the airflow. But changing the suspension alone is not enough. The entire aerodynamic design of the car changed to work with the suspension system. In 2024, Ferrari performed many wind tunnel tests to get the right airflow for the new geometry and then decided on this radical change. Actually, Ferrari became the fifth team to switch to this front suspension system. McLaren and Red Bull started using the system in 2022. Last year, Racing Bulls and Sauber switched to the suspension system, and this year, Ferrari did too. We know that with this geometry, the air can be directed more easily into the Venturi ducts. This way, Ferrari will be able to use the underbody more effectively. This will create more downforce from the floor. This is important because Ferrari did not have a mechanical problem. Their problem was with downforce. They had issues in high-speed corners. Maybe this front suspension system will help them perform better in fast corners. Of course, this choice has some risks. As I mentioned earlier, Red Bull and McLaren have been using this system for 3 years. In fact, McLaren even brought some front suspension updates to the last year's United States Grand Prix. So, even teams that have used it for 3 years still find some performance improvements. However, Ferrari must achieve this in 1 year. Furthermore, another claim that was talked about before the car's launch, moving the front axle forward, has also come true. This change helps to keep the air for cooling away from the dirty air created by the front wheel, and by shortening the gearbox to keep the axle track within legal limits. The back of the car became more compact. On the other hand, the Sidepod system is similar to that of Red Bull and McLaren. It has an upper air intake, a P system, and is made a bit rounder. The aim is to reduce the volume better, so that the downward airflow becomes more efficient. With this system, the goal is to send the air to the back of the car with better packaging. The main reason for the upper intake is to direct all the air downward. Ferrari already does not have a cooling problem. However, I think this will work well for them. Last year, there was some talk about STAC. This year, one of those, the vortex-producing small wings introduced by Ferrari, remains in place. Also, when we look at the back of the Sidepod, we see that the packaging is narrower. This is very important because last year, Ferrari's packaging was much thicker. They took a different approach here and increased the opening a little more. In addition, the ventilation cut on the engine cover appears in its classic form. In a car where 99% of the parts changed, the one part that did not change, about 1%, is the triangular air intake. The Italian team has not abandoned this idea for many years. They optimize the airflow to the back of the car in the best way using this design. The protrusions on the shark fin are also meant to send more air to the back. Last year, there was S-duct. This year, it might be called shark fin duct. But of course, we need to look at how it works. The rear wing might look familiar. It is like last year's McLaren rear wing. Ferrari seems to have moved away from the very high, multi-purpose rear wing seen in the first part of last season. With the V-shaped rear wing design introduced on the SF-25, they aim to improve DRS efficiency. We also see that the openings on the sides of the rear wing have changed. The goal here is to create vortices again. And we now see that every team has rear wings with sharp edges, a change that was first seen in the 2022 Miami Grand Prix. In my opinion, the idea of the rear wing is this. By reducing protrusions, friction is reduced. In short, they reduce drag and increase downforce. This makes the rear of the car more efficient. But that is just my opinion, as nothing is clear. We must not forget that the floor is the most important part in the current ground effect era, and it holds many secrets. It is clear that the team has made many improvements and changes there. It is said that the floor used at the end of last year underwent a big evolution, but we do not know the details. In the visible part, the edge of the floor has become more linear toward the diffuser. The surface has been thinned even more, and the lower edge has become tougher. The size of the Venturi ducts has been changed with two main goals in mind: to spread the downforce created for the best aerodynamic balance, and control the air pressure under the car to reduce oscillations at lower ride heights. Moving to the back of the car, there are also some changes in the rear suspension. Ferrari will be the only team using both pull rod front and pull rod rear suspensions. And even though the rear suspension geometry remains the same, it has been redesigned to work better with the rear wing due to some changes in the car. It may not look like a big change, but the entire airflow and mechanical geometry have changed from top to bottom. A careful look at the front of the car will show you the difference. Today we talk about Ferrari's new SF-25. If you watched the video until here, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. I end the video with Hamilton's words. Lewis Hamilton: "The only thing I know is this: Ferrari is ready